All right, welcome. Make sure the sound is good. Let's see. Okay, it is. Awesome. All right, well, welcome to Trauma Talk Radio live broadcast with myself, your freedom coach, Nataushia Miller. Trauma Talk Radio is a podcast committed to helping people live a freedom from trauma lifestyle, one candid conversation at a time. There are two components to this podcast. One is that while out and about, just living everyday life and even attending events, we interview everyday people about overcoming life traumas, and we post those short interview clips on all social media platforms. And then two, we have the live broadcast every Monday on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. And during the live broadcast, we open up with content for the evening before we open the lines where viewers can call in for a candid conversation about overcoming trauma. And to call in for the live broadcast, you must be 21 or older. And that is Trauma Talk Radio. Alrighty, so let's get into the content for this evening. I hope you all have been following our pages from my pages to see the interview shorts. We have one that came out today that is that really highlighted grief. So I'm gonna start off with some content about grief. And on here on YouTube is interview short number 63. All right, so I have 4 steps to shift grief moments. Because one of the things about grief, when we're dealing with grief, at any moment of the day, something can trigger us and cause us to be in the state of feeling the emotions of grief, whether it's sorrow, sadness, hopelessness, anger, depression, anything can trigger. So, but if you're at work or you have to assume your responsibilities for the remainder of that day, how do you shift out of that space of grief so that you could continue being productive for the day? So that's what these steps are about. 4 steps to shift grief moments. So number 1 is rest. Allow yourself to experience the grief. Allow yourself to experience the emotions. Allow yourself to think the thoughts that are occurring in that moment. So just rest in the reality of that moment that you are experiencing a wave of grief, and that is okay because you are human. So just allow yourself to have that moment, to experience everything that accompanies that moment. Rest in the moment, knowing that it's okay to have it. Number 2 is remind. Remind yourself what you have amid what was lost. Because those moments of grief has a tendency of highlighting and magnifying the loss, which is causing the grief in the first place. And so remind yourself of what it is that you still have and what it is that you've gained as a result of the traumatic experience that is causing the grief. Remember that remind yourself that you're not alone, that you have friends and family and others that love and care for you and that support you as well. So don't rest in the grief to the point of isolation. You just want to rest in the reality of it, but remind yourself of the reality of your life situation. Okay, you are not alone in your grief. All right, so that's the first 2 steps. We're going over 4 steps to shift grief moments. Number 1 is rest. Number 2 is remind. And number 3 is reconnect. Reconnect with what matters to your heart the most. So those spaces, places, and people that bring you joy. Consider your hobbies. Consider the things that you love to do, your purpose for being here, or even the discovery process of discovering your purpose for being here. Think about those things. Reconnect with that which puts a smile on your face and brings you joy. And then number 4, the final step is regroup. So when grief occurs, those moments of grief occur, regroup by focusing on your strength and capacity. Grief has a tendency to magnify those things which are beyond our control. So regroup by focusing on what you have the capacity and strength to control in your life. Refocus your vision and energy on what you can control and conquer, and then do it. So, those are 4 steps to shift grief moments. And I hope that it helps you the next time you may be triggered and you experience a wave of overwhelming grief. And please do go and check out that particular interview, because a few of these steps was inspired by the interview that I had. And I'm actually going to get it real quick and put the link in the comments for you. So give me 1 second. Put the link in the comments. And this is for interview short 62. I know I said 63 earlier, but it's actually 62. Wrong number. All righty. So I put that link in the comments. All right. So another thing about Trauma Talk Radio live broadcast is that it is about conversation. Trauma Talk Radio, period, is about conversation, is about dialogue. And so if no one is here during the live broadcast to have dialogue and conversation, even if you're only comfortable with being in the chat and not necessarily calling on to be on the broadcast live with me, which is fine. If no one's here to do that, we cut the broadcast short, because Trauma Talk Radio is not purpose for me to just be here talking by myself, with myself. To all of you who catch the replay, it's for us to have conversation, to those of you who are here for the live broadcast. And right now, no one is present. So I'm about to roll on out. If you happen to catch this replay before 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I invite you to come join me on Instagram. But until then, I am out of here. Beautiful people, this is your Freedom Coach, Nataushia Miller, signing off until next time. I will see you all next Monday for another Trauma Talk Radio live broadcast. Peace and freedom. Bye-bye.